We definitely walked away from comfort, convenience, ease.
There's going to be fear involved.
Most people are literally entertaining themselves to death.
You have to be willing to sacrifice the opinions of other people.
We have invested so much money into growth.
It's thinking outside of the box.
The most important investment that any of us can make is in ourselves. Hey there, this is Greg Denning. We want to reach as many people as possible and help as many families as possible with these conversations. And we want to keep this podcast ad-free forever. You can help us do that by subscribing on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen, your favorite platform, and on YouTube. And leave a quick review and share your favorite episodes with friends and family. It makes a big difference. Thank you for being a part of this very important movement. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Extraordinary Family Life Podcast. We are your hosts, Greg and Rachel Denning. We got an awesome question today that we're excited to talk about. She starts by quoting James Allen. He who would accomplish little must sacrifice little. He who would achieve much must sacrifice much. He who would attain highly must sacrifice greatly. And I guess here's one of the things that is so important. It's hard to consider it a sacrifice if what you get back is more than what you gave. So here's the question. In line with this quote, what would you say are some sacrifices that you and Rachel have made to achieve the life you live now? Then as a follow-up question, what advice would you give to people in order to overcome the fear of loss or sacrifice for something better? That's insightful. Because you're right.
Yeah.
We get into our own heads and the fear of loss, the fear of failure, like what if I sacrifice this thing and it doesn't work out?
Right.
Right? That's super scary. Or I'm going to make the sacrifice and I'm hoping it's something better, but what if it's not? Right? So let's start with question number one. What have we sacrificed to be able to achieve the life we live now?
And so the initial sort of response that you kind of hinted at first was kind of like, well, wow, everything we have sacrificed has been infinitely worth it. So from where we are at this moment, it doesn't feel like a sacrifice.
Exactly. I think that's so important.
Yeah. Having gone through it, I look at people and I'm like, guys, it's easy. Like, why are you not willing to give this up? It's so worth it. But I do recall that on the other side of it, it felt like a huge deal. It felt like the biggest impossibility ever. But I do know that for many people, that's simply just this huge leap of faith. It's this huge unknown.
Well, it's just a really big barrier.
Would it be worth it?
So difficult.
Yeah. For me to completely eliminate all processed foods or whatever, it just seems like so unreasonable.
Let's start there. That's probably not what people would expect. Like they say, okay, Dennings, what did you sacrifice greatly to achieve highly? And we start with, well, junk food and highly processed food and garbage. Like,
yeah, that is funny. People don't think we would give that answer, but yet that is definitely a huge,
absolutely fundamental
key element of it. Because as you always love to emphasize, your body is the vehicle for experiencing life. And so our bodies are the vehicles for experiencing our extraordinary life. And as a result, we had to sacrifice foods that did not help us optimize our bodies so that we have the energy, the motivation, the ability to be able to live the life that we want to live. One of the things we had to sacrifice was this life of comfort and ease where the hardest thing you do is not that hard, and then you come home and watch Netflix.
Yeah.
We had to sacrifice that. We don't do that. That's not our life. Our life is very busy. We are extremely highly productive. But that's because we're intentionally doing things all day long to be productive.
And yet we also have a comfortable life.
Yeah, right. That's why it could be misinterpreted because it's not like we have an uncomfortable, miserable life. We have a great life.
A lot of people, like their only pursuit in life, and they may not even say this cognitively, like my pursuit is comfort. They wouldn't. But what they end up doing is everything in their life is for more comfort, more convenience, more ease. They're just chasing that down. Like anything that can stop the pain.
And at the same time, avoiding those things that would require additional effort. You have to be willing to sacrifice all of that comfort and ease and luxury and convenience and be able to do the extra work so that you can obtain the greater rewards.
We definitely walked away from comfort, convenience, ease, this idea of kind of keeping up with the Joneses, doing what everyone else is doing. We totally set aside for years the nice house and the nice car and those kind of things. If we had pursued owning lots of stuff and things, furniture and decorations and all the bling bling and whatever, we might have attained all that. And then we for sure would have missed out on all the memories and adventures and all the great things
And
and
the growth.
experiences and the growth. Yes, we would have sacrificed the growth for stuff. But because we set aside the stuff and we were chasing growth, like that is one thing we've always done. We absolutely chase growth, period. And we still do. Again, cognitively, you're like, well, we didn't sacrifice it. We have all these amazing things. It's great. But we did have to sacrifice them.
When we didn't have
Yeah,
them.
right. We had to choose, like, what are we going to do? Are we going to follow the traditional path? Are we going to get a nice, set of furniture? Or are we going to go have an epic, uncomfortable adventure? That was very important.
We did go through a period of time where we literally got rid of pretty much everything.
Yep.
And that was, for us, a very necessary sacrifice.
Super formative.
And,
so, okay, so at one point, becoming minimalists and then really essentialists, like keeping only what's essential. That was a very important part of our journey. Sacrificing our security blanket of stuff.
Right. Sacrificing our connection and obsession with things.
Yep.
And in our mind at the time, we were exchanging that for experience because early on we didn't have the funds or ability to travel and have a home. We couldn't afford to do both.
So that's a perfect example.
Right.
It's like we either travel and have adventures or we have a home, and we put the home on the altar.
Yeah. So we gave that up so that we could have the experiences that came from travel.
Ooh, so important. I think one thing that we did for sure sacrificed was entertainment. We live in an age of entertainment, and we love entertainment. Like, it's not like we're like, that's lame.
Love movies.
We love movies. We love entertainment. We love all the fun things that people love to do. But we realize, like, most people are literally entertaining themselves to death, and they're taking their families with them. And we just said, as much as we like watching TV and movies, and I loved watching sports. I grew up as an athlete. I thought, no, I don't want to do that. And so Rachel and I committed, we're not getting a TV, and we were going to buy books.
As newlyweds, yeah.
As newlyweds, and we started a family. And so we just bought books. And so we sacrificed entertainment for books. And then we sacrificed like leisure time or, I don't know, fluffy time, frivolous time, just whatever.
Time.
Just chitty chatting with whoever, staring at the wall, listening to music, blah, blah, blah. We sacrificed that for reading to and listening to books. Even I remember when I consciously said, I'm not listening to the radio ever again. Like, we're not going to listen to the radio. I'm going to listen to audiobooks.
The point is not that we just cut it out, because if you just cut it out, it's kind of pointless. You could actually, if you had to choose between doing nothing and watching a movie, actually watching a movie is more beneficial. But if you're going to watch a movie or study and learn about personal growth and development, that's the better option, right? And so that's what we did. We sacrificed all of that time and devoted it instead to personal development.
We do not participate in tribal events.
Right. And so there was a lot of church functions and social functions and just friend hangout time that we just were like, nope.
We were anxiously engaged in a good cause.
Right.
And we were going after it. I mean, we've had noble targets and aims, and we've been out genuinely seeking to have real impact and make a difference in the world. Like, we're genuinely chasing greatness. And so we're sacrificing what is good for what is better. We sacrificed the good, so quote, the good opinions of others, including family members or friends with well-meaning people. Like, hey, we're going to live unconventionally. What? You're going to ruin your family. You're going to ruin your kids' lives. They're going to get whatever, blah, 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 go on and on. And that started when we thought, we're going to homeschool.
Yeah.
Here it comes.
We're going
to do home birth. What? You guys are a bunch of weirdo hippies, and it comes all down, and everybody and all their things. So you You sacrifice this avoidance of conflict, right? Because so many people go along there I just want to avoid conflict.
If you want to build your life and your family, you have to be willing to sacrifice the opinions of other people.
Yep.
Like, who cares what the neighbor thinks or the person in the church or this, whatever?
Or your mother-in-law
Your
or your own
mother-in-law or
mother.
even your own mother sometimes. Who cares? You have to create what it is you want to create, regardless of what other people are going to think, say, or do.
We got to put this in context, though, because if you're just genuinely being weird and you're doing something that's dumb,
And you are messing up your
and
kids.
you're messing up your kids and your life, and people are trying to stop you, you should listen. We're not
Well,
talking about
okay.
that, but if you know you are genuinely chasing greatness and others, even with the best intentions, are holding you back or trying to keep you mediocre or small, say, you know what? Hey, love you. I'm going. I'm doing this anyways.
And that is an important aspect, of course, because that's the point of that sort of social behavior in humans. Like, we're trying to protect each other from doing
Yep.
something that's really damaging. And so we would take it into consideration. If somebody said something, we would think about it. We would analyze it and be like, are we messing up our kids? Are we making a mistake here? And we've asked those questions to ourselves many times over the years. But ultimately, we had enough belief and confidence in what we were doing to say, no, they think we're crazy, but this is the right path. This is what we need to do.
And it has paid off so many times over. So much so that, like we were saying in the beginning, it doesn't feel like they were even sacrifices because our life is so good.
Right.
So here are some other things. Like as you go along thinking about this, like what are things we sacrificed? Looking back, you can walk through and say, oh, there was quite a few things, but some of them there were little things. So I was just thinking about our marriage. Our marriage is just amazing. What did we have to sacrifice to have such an amazing marriage? Well, one of them was like the desire to be right. Sacrifice the ego. Sacrifice the when I meet people all the time, they're like, they just have this insatiable need to win arguments. It's like, stop. It doesn't even matter. Or we had to sacrifice our fixed mindsets and our limiting beliefs.
Absolutely.
And man, I had a lot of them.
Right.
I had a ton of them.
Yeah.
And I had to kill them all. And then I had to unlearn things that I had learned. That's painful. You had to unbelieve things that you believed in.
Right.
So adamantly to realize, oops, that wasn't working. But I was so convicted, and maybe you'd spent months or years pursuing something, you realize that was stupid, and you have to walk away.
Yeah.
You have to walk away from everything you put in. Another sacrifice we made was we have spent well over $100,000, probably approaching $200,000 in personal and professional development, in books, courses, webinars, masterminds, coaching. Like, we have invested so much money into growth. And of course, it pays off massively.
Right.
And
but it often was a big sacrifice. I mean, I remember a couple times when we were going to spend $10,000 on a program and we had to put it on a credit card or just felt like we can't afford this. But we were willing to make that sacrifice because we viewed it as an investment.
Yep.
And yeah, it paid off. It worked out.
We've also spent many, many tens of thousands of dollars on experiences for ourselves and our kids. Here's a framework that I'll share that is hopeful and hopefully helpful for people. We wholeheartedly believe the most important investment that any of us can make is in ourselves. The number one investment you should always make is in yourself. Then number two, of course, is in your spouse and your children. So you're choosing not to spend your money on other things so you can invest in yourself. We were willing to be unconventional and nonconformists, and that was important in our journey. Very, very important. We were willing to question convention.
Yeah, it's thinking outside of the box, essentially. We were willing to be open to ideas that didn't fit into the norm of, well, again, the social expectations or even our own expectations. We were willing to consider things that existed outside of what we personally knew or understood or believed.
Yep.
Inevitably, there are fears involved. No matter what you try to do, if it's different or if you're pursuing something greater or higher, there's going to be fear involved.
I wrote this the other day. It's like, just because you don't face your fears doesn't make you any safer.
Right. Or any less fearless.
It feels safe.
Yeah. The fears are still there.
Yeah.
You're just choosing not to confront them or to avoid them so that you don't feel them. But they're still there. They haven't gone away.
Yep.
So it's being willing to engage in that process. But then the other thing too is we, I guess, sacrificed our need to look successful at all times
Mm-hmm.
and to be willing to fail or to fall on our face or to make mistakes, which we did plenty of times and which is very painful.
And people were like, ha, told you so,
Told you so,
sucker.
right?
And we had to face that.
But we were willing to engage in that process because we knew that failure is fertilizer and failure helps to move you forward. And you only are a failure if you choose to give up and not keep trying.
Yep.
And so we had to be willing to do that and then to get up and keep trying after we failed.
Yes, yes, yes. We could have played it safe.
Yeah.
And we could have followed the conventional path and we could have looked like successes the entire way.
Right.
We could have just followed this along and everyone's looking like, wow, you guys are doing it right. Everything's working out. Wow, you're just the little model family and nothing goes wrong in your world. And we're like, forget that crap. Let's jump off this cliff and see if we splat.
That's especially true because I think we did have initial success early on. You got hired in a very prestigious position that was coveted by many other people.
Very hard to get in.
It had great, hard to get in. It had great benefits. It kind of put you at the top of this hierarchy of importance. That's how we started. We chose to give that up to pursue a more unconventional path. And then
that one was pivotal because they were like, if you walk out the door, you can't come back. There's no like rehire. They tried to persuade me not to leave.
Right.
And they said, if you leave, the door closes behind you.
But that,
I was like, oh.
A similar thing happened at least 3 or 4 more times. There were at least 2 other positions you were offered that were over $100,000 a month base salary.
Plus commissions.
Plus all the commissions and the benefits, which
I
again,
knew I would have crushed it.
Right.
And
exactly.
They handed out the bling bling with all the benefits, all the bonuses, all the stuff right there on the platter.
And we could have very easily have accepted that position and you would have been very successful at it. And again, here we are. We have the look of success, but somehow, I don't know, just in our soul, we knew that it would be soul sucking, that it wasn't pursuing what we actually wanted and what was really meaningful to us. And so we were willing to sacrifice that in order to pursue the meaning and purpose that we were after. And then that happened again with another job, then another position you had for a while you were very successful at. And same thing, they kept convincing you to stay and stay and stay and offering you more and more and more. And finally, we were like, this served a purpose for a while. It was a part of our journey, but we know now we have to walk away from it. We have to leave because we can't reach the greater heights that we're after if we stay here. And so we had to walk away.
And in each of those instances, we sacrificed security.
Absolutely, we did.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
In fact, in every one of those, there was money and benefits all right there. And we're like, no,
we're going to go for.
We'll choose to be broke.
Yeah,
like
right.
we chose like this vow of poverty.
I know.
Because we're like, no, this is more where we want to go. It's insane. It's crazy.
And that's where the challenge is because ultimately you have to be kind of in tune with the cliche following your heart thing because that's really what has to guide you. Like that has to be the guiding force that leads you to reaching your full potential. And as long as you continue to ignore that, that's when you end up in these situations which are less than ideal, less than what you really want from your life.
Yeah, and that's like you referenced the soul sucking part of it. You're just like, okay, I'm checking all the boxes.
Yeah,
I'm
got
doing
the nice
all
house.
the things. Really, my life sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a void. My life is empty. I don't like
I'm
all
not
the
fulfilled. Not
most
happy.
of my life. I don't like,
Right.
but I'm on
successful.
paper. I'm successful.
Right.
I've done all the things.
Yeah.
And so we're the opposite. We're like, we didn't do any of the things.
Well, and on paper, we may not look successful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think where people are going to struggle is that they want to, and we get to see it. You and I get to see it every day. We're working with people. they don't want to step away from
The known.
yep, you're right. What's known, what's familiar. They don't want to step away from what we call the herd, what everybody else is doing. It's like, well, they're doing all this stuff. Like, I need to follow along. So I think if we break it down to a daily or a weekly thing, then maybe people will look at it and still see that like, there's sacrifices, so to speak, that we're making every day. It's like we get up in the morning and we go into our morning routines. So we're not checking our messages, we're not jumping on social media, we're not, you know, getting up entertaining ourselves. We're not getting out of bed and going to the donut shop. I mean, so some people
Or
look at
to
our lives.
school or
Yeah,
to
we're not
work.
running to school or work, or like we're not doing that. We get up and we make our mornings. They're slow mornings. They're beautiful, peaceful mornings. We
Intentional.
we nourish our mind, body, and spirit every morning.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people would look at that and be like, oh, it's so hard, Dennings.
Mm.
How do you not wake up and check social media first thing and then go for a donut? Like, so, I mean, maybe some people would still see that as a sacrifice, but I can't see it as a sacrifice because it's so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Our life is so much better without the trash. It's amazing. And so then we do work that matters.
And we
Maybe that's a
work out
sacrifice.
and spend time as a family in the morning.
Yep.
Yesterday we went running and walking at the cliffs and then working out in the gym together.
Yep.
I mean,
And we work out hard.
we spend all day, every day together.
Yep.
Working, playing, eating, laughing, doing
Studying.
school,
Yep.
doing work all day, every day. That's our life. And it's such an amazing, incredible, joyful way to live, especially when you like each other and you get along and you have fun together and, there's no fighting, there's no arguing or disagreements or ugliness. It's just love and peace and joy. Now, and this is not to paint some perfect picture because there's still frustrations and irritate. Our son's working on remodeling or fixing up a defender. There's irritation involved with that, right? Like there's frustration of this thing or this part is delayed or whatever. So there's still life and it's irritations, but I think the image that comes to my mind is kind of like there's the ocean and maybe the waves on top get ruffled, but below it there's still the depth
Deep
of peace.
Yeah.
That's underlying all of this. Especially when it's connected to a deep sense of meaning and purpose. Part of our life is filled with meaning and purpose. There's nothing that we do. And sometimes I think people don't fully realize this. We've been so deliberate about intentionally orchestrating our lives. There's literally nothing, and I don't say that lightly, literally nothing we do that we haven't intentionally decided to do.
And I would say boldly, there is nothing in our life that we don't want here.
Right. There's nothing in our life that we don't want as a part of our life.
And that's including people and circumstances or whatever. Like anything's like, oh, no, that's toxic. That's off. That's it's out, gone.
Yeah.
Like and so maybe that's the sacrifice there of like, oh, we put all kinds of things, anything is on the chopping block if it comes in and disturbs the dream life we're living.
Right.
Here's a couple little things I think that we had to sacrifice. We had to sacrifice sarcasm. I was very sarcastic and very, I love to tease, and I realized that's not helpful.
And we still do a lot of teasing, but it's
bantering.
It's
We have some playful
teasing.
bantering. It's not sarcasm. It's not hurtful. So insulting, gone.
Mm-hmm.
Mockery, making fun of people where it like kind of hurts, and everyone laughs, but it kind of hurts, gone. My temper. I had a crazy temper. I was very angry. That had to be sacrificed on the altar. I'm like, that sucker is gone. I will not allow myself to be angry.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it sounds like a weird thing to bring up. I'm like, hey, what'd you have to sacrifice to live a great life? Well, one of the things I had to sacrifice is stop getting upset over little things.
Mm-hmm.
That's super important.
Yeah.
Because I was the kind of guy that I was constantly upset over all kinds of little things. And if you get upset at little things, then you're upset all the time. And I started telling myself, like, only little people get upset over little things. So I had to sacrifice being a little person. Okay, here's another thing we sacrificed. We sacrificed this desire to, we call it the peacock pageantry. We had to sacrifice performance and participation in the pageantry. Where I'm going along, I'm trying to get all the titles and positions and certificates and diplomas and all these little things, all the little stickers that tell society how important I am. We just had to walk away from all of that
Mm-hmm.
and genuinely not care. And it still comes up. People were like, oh, well, how are you? Where are your credentials?
How are you qualified to talk about
Yeah.
parenting
What are your
or marriage?
qualifications? And I'm like, my results? Results are the only real qualification because results don't lie. And so, people who are still like, well, you can't participate in this little pageantry. I'm like, I want nothing to do with it. And I can absolutely succeed without your little pageantry. So that was
Mm-hmm.
something we also had to sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Walk away from the pageantry. Check out and do your own thing. So I guess that's the overall message is,
Well, but I have to emphasize this again because back to the whole point, there is the reason why it's scary is because there is actually real danger.
Yep.
And we've told our kids that we've quote unquote disadvantaged them because we've raised them in an unconventional way, which means it will be that much harder for them to succeed, meaning that if you step away from the traditional path is there to be a safety net. And it provides that role for many people. That it's important. We're not discounting its importance. It is a safety net. But choosing to step away from it is where you, back to Alan's quote, you sacrifice greatly so you can achieve highly. But it requires more effort. It requires more work, more. It requires more. That is the risk because otherwise, if you walk away from it and give less, you actually end up worse off
Yeah, there's no
than you
safety
would
net.
be otherwise.
I guess it worked for us because I've always had this just determination that I will either find a way or I will make one.
Well, and so speaking more of sacrifices, that's another thing we had to sacrifice. We had to give up being victims. We had to take full responsibility for the outcomes in our lives. There was no more blaming the government or blaming the economy or blaming
Your past.
XYZ did this to me or my partner or whatever. We just had to own the outcomes. And I feel like that's something we've actually been really good at. Like anytime something bad happens to us, we always just say, where did we fail? What did we do wrong? How did we contribute to this happening to us? Because we knew that ultimately that's what mattered most. In some way, we had contributed to it and we needed to learn from that so we didn't repeat it. We couldn't just say, oh, we were just unlucky or bad luck or this is just life. We said, no, we did something to make this happen. And so let's learn so it doesn't happen again. It's like just 100% ownership and responsibility for all of the outcomes we're achieving or not achieving.
I love that. You have to sacrifice your own victimism.
Mm-hmm.
So true. Love it. I guess I want to really emphasize what we said earlier. Once you make the sacrifice on this side of it, making the sacrifice seems so big and so scary. Once you make it and you get the results you want and you look back, you're like, that was
so worth it.
It was so worth it. And it doesn't even seem like a sacrifice because
like
we've gotten so much more.
I got the better end of the deal
Yeah,
here.
exactly. I'm like, I totally won. Oops, that was somebody don't, keep that a secret.
Yeah.
Just wow, it's amazing. And it's worth it. I guess that's a resounding message we could shout that it's so worth it.
Right. But I do also want to say it is hard. It's going to be challenging because that's actually how you grow. If it was easy, it wouldn't require anything of you and you would remain the same. It's through the challenge and the hardship that you grow and become a bigger and better person.
Which then changes the perspective because now you look back, you're like, that's not hard. It was only hard because I was soft.
And it's like looking at a child and, like, yeah, for a 2-year-old, it's hard. But when you grow up, it's no longer hard. It's now just easy.
And so we keep growing. Like just because your body stopped growing when you reach, your full height, like you keep growing like crazy. Just get up every single day and say, how can I learn? How can I grow? How can I be better? And you become so much stronger. So then what used to be a sacrifice, you're like, that's easy, man.
Yeah.
That was only, it was tough because I was weak.
Right. And now you're a bigger person, more capable, more competent. And so it does. You look back and see that was easy.
And then what's super cool is that on your day-to-day, week-to-week, you're pushing yourself, you're pushing your limits, you're achieving great things, you're living a great life, and it's not all that hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's really enjoyable. It's a great life. And we have a lot of people come stay with us, and we have guests come and friends come, and they come to here at the World School Family Resort. And I know, well, they even say, they'll come like, "What, man, you guys, those are hard workouts. And this is exhausting stuff, but it's enjoyable. It's fun. It's great." We're like, we're just loving life, every bit of it. And it's worth all of us. So if you know, ladies and gentlemen, that there's something you need to put on that altar and sacrifice, the thing that's holding you back. And many people at least have, the low hanging fruit. They're like, they know what's standing in the way.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what the obstacle is, if you know what's holding you back, go ahead and sacrifice it. If you know what it is you want and it's standing in your way, go after it. Go get the thing you want most and live the life you were born to live, and create the extraordinary family life you dream about. Make it happen. And let us know how we can help. That's part of our life's work, which we love. We get to get up every day and help people create extraordinary family lives. And it's the coaching we do. It's the courses we create. It's the programs we have. It's all there to help you create your extraordinary family life. So love you guys. Thanks for listening. Reach upward.